and for Killer Mike and T.I. and Tamika Mallory, that panel wasn't about show and tell. It wasn't about entertainment. It wasn't about, oh man, we had that thing going. No, what it actually was about was entertainment. Because see, that's all they're interested in. They're not actually interested in doing things to improve Black America. They want the show. That's what it's all about. And so those of us who do this for a living, we know that game. We know it's all about the show. I remember I was on CNN in 2008 or so. And that was a black pastor who was we were on together. And it was real interesting. We were talking about Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and some other stuff along those lines. And while I'm talking to black pastor who was we were on together. And it was real interesting. We were talking about Reverend Jesse. And this black pastor was saying all kind of stuff. And, you know, he was just all hyped. Now, y'all, I knew it was fraudulent. I knew what he was doing. So you know what ended up happening? He then, in the green room, says, man, you know what? We need to get together and do this more because it's a whole lot of money out here. Did y'all hear what I said? It's a whole lot of money out here. See, you have a group of black folks on the conservative side who that's what it's about. Let me just be real clear with y'all. If I chose, with my skill set, with how I debate, with how I communicate, if I chose to be a black, self-hating, slamming black people, touting a conservative agenda, I can tell you right now, I probably will be worth about $20 to $40 million. Let me unpack that. I'll be worth that because that's what you really have going on here, folks. It's a game. And see, people like Katrina Pearson and people like Candace Owens have no interest in having real discussions with black people about actual policy because they would be exposed for their nonsense every single day. See, when you hear all the people right now talk about Trump and the First Step Act, okay, I'll give you an example. At best, it's about 7,000 people. Some say upwards of 20,000 people are going to be impacted by the First Step Act. Nobody has given me a racial breakdown, so all 7,000 to 20,000 are not African American. But let's say it's 60% of the 7,000. All right, not a problem. Okay, so what are we talking about? 4,800 people, maybe about 5,000 people. That's about it, right? You do realize that 90% of the people who are in prison are on the state and local level. Now, when Donald Trump touts the First Step Act, when people like Candace Owens and Katrina Pearson tout the First Step Act, what they overlook, or then they'll throw in, oh, look at black unemployment. Oh, look at what he's done for HBCUs. Here's what they won't say. They won't say how he wants to get rid of the Minority Supply Development Agency. They won't say how Jeff Sessions ordered federal prosecutors to forget the Eric Holder era rules and prosecute to the highest levels. They won't mention Trump reinstated private prisons on the federal level. They won't mention the Department of Justice said we don't want to have any consent decrees. They tried to get out of the one in Baltimore and out of the one in Chicago. They won't mention any of those things. They won't mention the fact that the Department of Justice has done nothing when it comes to enforcing the Voting Rights Act and really dealing with the whole issue of police misconduct all across this country. They won't mention the fact that under the Department of HUD and in Housing, Health and Human Services and in Commerce and in every federal agency, they're rolling back civil rights protections and all of those. So while people like Candace Owens and Katrina Pearson and supporters like that might mention one or two things, I'll over here list 10, 12 things that are detrimental to black folks. They won't address those things. What I need y'all to understand is, and a lot of y'all, and trust me, I've challenged Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens to debate anytime, anywhere. And in fact, Alveda King, I ran into her daughter, I think, in Atlanta at the Rolling Out Summit I was at, where she said she wants to put this thing together. I said, boo, they're not going to debate a brother like me. Because, see, they can't handle this level of heat. I ain't going to bring smoke. I'm going to bring heat, okay? What they want to do is they want the show. What a Candace wants to do is repeat the same 2 or 3 or 4 talking points. And you heard T.I. And so, if y'all enjoyed the conversation, that's great. If you were entertained by it all, that's great. Were there things in that conversation that are worth us talking about and exploring? Absolutely. But if we're going to do this, let's do it with people who are at the table, who are real, who are substantive, who know what the hell they're talking about, and who are not just trying to sit here and say stupid stuff because it's all about how can I say the craziest thing and keep getting those checks rolling in the same way Larry Elder has done, the same way Deneen Borelli has done, the same way Jesse Lee Peterson has done, and I can go on. And hell, I can name for y'all some of the black people who were liberals who flipped to the conservative side thinking they were going to cash in, and guess what? They even got exposed. Even conservatives were like, okay, yeah, some of y'all are frauds. Game, recognize game. And I just want y'all to understand that. Joining us right now, of course, is Teresa Lundy, Principal Founder of TML Communications, Dr. Avis Jones DeWeaver, political analyst, as well as Mustafa Santiago Ali, former Senior Advisor, Environmental Justice, EPA. See, initially I was not going to talk about this, but I need to talk about this because, again, I think, and what happens is, and I get it, with that crowd, how they responded, and people sitting here, they were jumping up, and they were talking about what went on. But I need them to understand what the game is, because I'll show you. I'm going to advance it here, and after T.I. made his comment, go to my iPad. I want y'all just to watch the crowd.
The fact? Why are you doing a fact?
Because you're making light of.
No, I'm not.
You're making light of the enslavement of people that look like us. You can't make light of that. That ain't nothing you breeze over.
I haven't even finished the sentence. How am I making light of anything?
You started with some bullshit.
Okay.
Teresa, that's what they want. They want the show. And they want to be able to go back to their white conservative friends. See, we went into the enemy territory, and you saw how we got treated and how the audience were all against us. This is a game. They are not serious about the black community.
I think it's 2 parts to that. I think that entire Revolt Summit, because I also watched it. Right, and I think and I'm glad you started off with that commentary because it was so important. Because when we start talking about what makes sense for the black agenda and black America, and for those who really don't understand what politics or government actually looks like outside of listening to T.I.'s lyrics or Killer Mike, and they're just, listening to the impoverished lyrics, but they're not listening to some of the elected leaders who are coming forth with legislation and different plans. I think more so this panel should have more so touched on the entire detrimental facts that affects black people, right? Because a lot of people don't know, some of those cause and effects. And if they did, I do believe the conversations would be greater, and a woman like Candace Owens wouldn't be able to go to a Revolt Summit and say, well, I can't really talk about what Trump did because... No,
they can't. I mean, Mustafa, they can't talk about the environmental dangers. You can't talk about how he's destroyed the USDA. You can't talk about the scientists who have left. And again, let me be clear. I'm not criticizing the summit. Revolt should be doing it. I'm not even criticizing having the conversation. What I'm saying is, because let me also be clear. Y'all heard me say on this show, we as black people have to have alliances among black conservatives, because if you have, in the case right now, Dems control the House, Republicans control the Senate, all right? The reality is, in a moment, I'm going to be talking with Congresswoman Alma Adams, who is the co-founder of the HBCU caucus, who is the co-chair of that with the Republican in North Carolina, whose wife is a graduate of Winston-Salem State. So let me be real clear. In states across this country, Republicans control the governor's mansion, the House, and the Senate. Black folks, we are constituents. We need to be having relationships on that side because there are going to be issues where we do agree, where we have to work with folks on the other aisle. What I am saying is there are a host of real black conservatives in this country who actually talk to black people, who actually sit with black people, but you have like these two. They don't talk with black people, okay? They're not trying to actually, how do we find common ground with black people? Their whole deal is how loud and wild can I be in trumpeting Trump to get folks all mad and excited and then go back to their safe white spaces and say, ooh, see what happened when we went there? They're not serious, actually, about our community.
Exactly. You know, I've worked with black conservatives on policy, you know, those who are serious. So you've got that set of folks, but you also have a set of folks that we're talking about who invest in and who support buffoonery. And they like these types of things because it takes people away from the actual impacts that are happening inside of their lives. They want a reaction from you. So imagine if that sister said whatever she was trying to say, and folks were educated in the audience. There probably were educated people who were there.
Absolutely.
But if folks understood the basic, the top 5 or 7 things you need to know around housing, around transportation, around the fact of unemployment. So it's always interesting when we talk about this full employment, but then when you unpack that and you see the types of jobs that your people are actually getting and that they've got to work 2 or sometimes 3 jobs just to make it to the basic lines, it changes the dynamic of that conversation. And that's where we have to get to. I appreciate the fact that you are always talking about folks need to get educated so that when you utilize your vote, it can actually be directed in a positive place that can make change happen. So that's why I don't even get down. You know, people will sell their souls for a few shillings. We've heard that, you know, growing up. And this is just another reflection of how they continue to do that.
Again, what you're dealing with here is you're dealing with the show. Mm-hmm. The show is one thing. Serious things, Avis, is another. Mm-hmm. And there are black women who I'm sure in the Black Women's Roundtable y'all work with who are black conservatives.
Absolutely.
Who are real on policy. Mm-hmm. These two are not real.
No. And these types of incidents expose that greatly. I mean, I would have been interested. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I've only seen this clip a few times. I would be interested, did she ever answer that question? Because even where she was going with that partial answer didn't make sense in that, yes, you had this transatlantic slave trade that encompassed a lot of the Caribbean, North America, South America. But guess what? America was one of the last, if not the last, nation to end slavery. So I don't even understand why.
And our form was a lot different from other people as well.
Very different in terms of, you know, it was maternally passed down from generation to generation. Our form of slavery was unique and distinctive and especially brutal. And so I don't even know where she didn't even know where she was going with that answer. That was no example of America being great. Let's just put that on the table. Yeah. So, you know, I would just be interested in knowing where she would have ended up with that. It shows her ignorance. But at the end of the day, what you're saying is absolutely true. This is about her being able to get clips like this that go viral so that she can go back to the white folks who are paying her to say, look what I did, now give me some more money. Right. Because that's really what it's about.
And again, I want the audience to understand. Those of us who have covered these stories for years, we know the game. Y'all, we can see them coming. I'm telling you, I've debated them who will pull you to the side and essentially say, let's take this thing on the road. Because it's all for a money grab. As opposed to those of us who are real about this, who are going, yo, I'm not trying to sit here and roll with you, because that's the deal. And in fact, that's actually the minstrel show. All right? That's why I call out Diamond and Silk. That's a minstrel show. When you see the comedian Terrence Williams, that's a minstrel show. That's not about policy. It's a C.J. Pearson running his little mouth. Same thing, okay? What you're dealing with is you're not dealing with people who are serious, all right? There are black conservatives who I know, who I've interviewed, who I've covered, who are involved in education, who are involved in housing in different areas. And we might disagree on things, and they abhor voter suppression and some of the things that they do. You want to talk about somebody like Black Republican? Michael Steele's been on this show and talked about how he got treated when he was chairman of the Republican National Committee, where they literally had a meeting in Speaker Boehner's office and told him, look, we don't need you talking policy. We got that. You don't focus on policy. He's like, wait a minute, what the hell? I'm the chair of the Republican National Committee. Did you tell the last chair don't discuss policy? It literally told Michael Steele, look, just go on over here. We got this. And then try to change the rules where he couldn't spend he had to get permission to spend money over $5,000. Wow. Oh, yeah. Michael told me. So, in fact, y'all, they were so foul in 2012 at the Republican National Convention in Tampa. Reince Priebus, they had an event honoring previous Republican National Committee chairs and didn't even invite Michael Steele.
Wow.
Didn't even give him credentials to the convention. He had to get his credentials through MSNBC. Just so y'all understand.
Wow. And she talking about plantation.
Just so y'all understand.
Wow.
So what I'm trying to explain to y'all is, again, when you see people like this here, it's all about the show. Now, you might say, well, Roland, why would you want to debate Candace Owens? Because I believe you expose fraudulent folk at all times. Because, see, when light hits darkness, darkness gets exposed. Y'all, they don't want real debates because they can't handle real conversation. They can't handle somebody who's going to be calm and not yelling and dropping facts on them and bringing real information. If they have to answer no, what they desire is for us to play the game. So just so y'all understand that, the reality is, in this world, there are two political parties, Republicans and Democrats. The reality is, we as black people have to be working on black interests. And that might mean working with Democrats or working with Republicans. That might mean opposing Democrats and opposing Republicans. I'm not against Republicans. What I am are against buffoonery coming out of the black Republican side. All right, folks, that's that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, you heard me talk a lot about marijuanastock.org. Why? Because I want to keep you informed of investment opportunities that make sense. We've all watched the growth of the cannabis industry, folks. A recent report by the New Frontier Data estimates the global cannabis market more than $340 billion. And we know that marijuana legalization is sweeping the country state by state. We also know that marijuana has a good cousin, the hemp plant, with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, that all changed with the 2018 Farm Bill, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S., creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all the plants. Folks, this is real simple, okay? And the folks at 420 Real Estate have a business model where they buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed high-paying tenants. That's right, there are hemp CBD landlords. You can get in on the action now. Of course, our folks at 420 Real Estate decided to do something special for the Roland Martin Unfiltered family. Originally, the minimum investment level was $500. Now you can get in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200, up to $10,000, okay? This is a growth industry that is still growing. If you want to invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game and get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.
video with cool that it has been 2 years now, because that just means that we have that much more data. We have 2 years worth of data now with 10 million views. I mean, that's just a lot of views to get data from. So now I can look at the analytics on my channel and learn all sorts of really cool things, see how year 1 compared to year 2, and that's exactly what we're gonna do in today's video of personal finance. And you watch a video, those are the ads that earn most of the revenue, and that's the case on this video and also on that last video that we were looking at just a minute ago. On both of them, about 80% of the ad revenue came only from those skippable video ads. So if you have a YouTube channel and you're trying to make money with it, then definitely make sure you have those skippable video ads turned on, because that's where most of your income will come from. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of these other top viewed videos on my channel, and then we're gonna look at how many views my channel got in year 1 versus year 2 and how much money I made in year 1 versus year 2. 30,000 views, which is a lot considering that this is not that great of a video, and I made it when I had no audience on YouTube. But it just shows that even if you don't have an audience yet, even if you don't have a lot of subscribers or you haven't gotten a lot of views, your videos can still take off. So this video right here earned $9.81 per 1,000 views, which means that over these past 2 years, it's earned almost $5,000, which is pretty cool considering that I just sat down and filmed this video, not really knowing what I was doing, not having an audience. Just took me a few hours to make, and it earned me almost $5,000. So yeah, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, do it. Okay, so the last of these videos we're gonna look at right now got a fair lot less views than those other ones. Still a lot though, 410,000 views. And I made this video right about 1.5 years ago. So my channel had been going for a little while at this point. My audience was starting to grow. As you can see, the views on this video were a lot more like evenly spread out over time. It wasn't just one huge spike when it went viral. It was a popular video for a while. Now this video also, even though it wasn't about money, it still earned a really good CPM. I earned $10.60 for every 1,000 views on this video, which means that over the past 1.5 years, these 400,000 views have earned me $2,225. Not bad, again, for something that took me just a few hours to make. Now, of course, goes without saying that I'm looking at the most popular videos right now. These videos are way more popular than the average video on my channel. The average video, you know, gets maybe 6, 7, maybe 10,000 views. Over time, they do get more views, which is cool because it means that they're continuing to earn me money on into the future. But most videos aren't doing this well and earning this much money. But let's take a look and see exactly how many views I got in the first year of my channel and in the second year, and how much money those views earned me. Okay, so this is a look at the first year of my YouTube for the first several months, one video. Because YouTube was suggesting my channel, especially in that first year, than I did into my job, and I was earning way more per hour running the channel than I was from my job. So not only was I building my platform online, building my audience, building my business, but I also was making good money at the same time. So let's take a look at year 2 and see what happened then. Okay, so this is year 2. As you can see, the views became much more stable in year 2. It's also interesting to know that $88, which I think it is so cool that I can sit here in my home, make videos about things that I'm interested in, and make this money on if we needed to. It's just another leg of the table that is holding us up. It means that if I did lose a source of income for some reason, there's this to fall back on. It's just your YouTube channel on the right foot, that you make it be successful right out of the gate. Of course, YouTube channels always take a little while to really get off the ground, to start to get momentum, but these are some things that you can do to make your channel become successful as quickly as possible. So again, totally free. There's a link down below if you want to download this. Okay, so I was about to wrap this up, but I just realized that we haven't looked at the total dollar number for my entire channel yet. So let's do that real quick. Just gonna change this date range to cover the last 2+ years, because obviously now it is July 22nd as I'm filming this video. So let's see how much my channel has earned in the past 2.5 years as I've gotten these 10 million views. So let's see. Okay, so I typed in those dates, and as you can see here, it's showing the views as a little under 10 million. I don't know exactly why that is, but what I can tell you is that YouTube analytics have problems sometimes. So if you come over here to my about section of my channel, you can see that I have almost 11 million views here, but for some reason it's underreporting on this page and it says 9.5 million. But it says that for those 9.5 million views, I've earned $65,579. So that's over these past
So February 2009, I made $0. April 2009, I made $0. I had one video that made me $66,000. Hello there people, welcome to The Break. My name is Patricia Bright. I hope you are doing well. People wanted that information, how to use this space to make money. I hope this is going to be helpful for you guys. I've laid out a lot of information there that is really, really valuable for anybody who wants to make $1 million. $2 a day, and in 2011, you know, there were days and stuff that I was making $6 or $8 a day. Now for me at the time, I was living what? I think that actually helped me fund a trip that I went to go and explore Southeast Asia. And I thought I was loaded because I had an extra £200 or £300 to spend on my backpacking trip, okay? That is what YouTube gave me. It gave me the opportunity to have a few $134,000. I think I became a little bit more focused on what content I wanted to make and also becoming far more consistent. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit more information on how this exactly works, but I think becoming a bit more consistent and uploading twice a week, 3 times a week with really good headlines and really good thumbnails made a huge difference for me. In that year, I had one video that made me $66,000 for a fashion video, which has a lower rate of CPM, but you know, it's still a decent video. That was amazing. I did a video, my wish video, that had 8 million views. I'm not gonna lie, it was a viral video. It made me $66,000.
I'm sit back here on your side now. type of noise. Let me see what this is.
Truth come out and y'all run.
Yeah.
Super Christian turned athlete.
Let me sit back here on your side now. Dang, I hear your voice saying you just on a normal phone, man.
Right.
God dang, this thing pick up all type of noise.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure. She's a Trump supporter. But wait a minute. You just said that you were a Democrat and then you voted for Trump. So aren't you a Trump supporter and not a black conservative?
Absolutely. And actually, in my case, and the distinction that I would make between me and Candace is
hold on. I want to be clear before you make the distinction. Hold on. Wait. I just want to be clear before you make the distinction. So you're saying that you're not a black Republican or a black conservative. You're a Trump supporter. So are you still a Democrat but a Trump supporter?
Yeah. So let me finish my point. Where the distinction between me and Candace is that I'm actually out there trying to bring people into the Republican Party. Candace, and she's admitted to it. Candace, she wants to move people away from the Democratic Party. I want to increase the numbers of people in the Republican Party.
All right, folks. Dr. Umar Johnson recently was on 105.1 FM out of New York, The Breakfast Club, with DJ Envy, Angela Yee, and Charlamagne the God. During the interview, Johnson talked about a whole range of issues. It led to him being the talk of Black Twitter last week, and a lot of people were questioning.
Bailey, that shit hit me because it shows that there's somebody, cracker, one slave master, owned your ancestors as well when he mentioned Washington Bailey. So
This is what we're gonna do.
The initiator, the great witch, the great demon. The initiator is in her human and animal form, completely aware of her creations. Scene cuts to the initiator animal form. The animal is docile, showing that the initiator, the sorceress, the great witch, has complete control over that form. Every door has a vessel that holds the energy of the demons or initiates. They interact with her. The sorceress now checks on her work. She begins to open up the rooms. She sees her initiates and their animal forms being entangled. This scene, water and sky, are used to join the 8 demon initiates. The scene shows water, women, and the clouds, signaling an impending eruption as they kick their verses, and they are in control of all of this. All of these elements of water and air. Into new initiates, partially transformed through snake initiation. They are also entangled. Initiates also bond with water, matter, fire, energy, air, and geometric shapes. The 2 initiates are peeping what is going on or confused about what may have happened to them. The initiates are communicating about what they are feeling and deciding if they want to choose to stay or go. They begin exploration of the rooms where the demon initiates are confined to and peep the elements, worlds without end. Peep the body marks, signs on skin if you wish, devil marks. They meet an oral sex demon. They meet the bloody backshot demon. They meet the race change demon, trying to understand what is going to happen to them. They conspire to leave the initiation hall. However, they are let to leave the crooked and magical demon world that they embarked in. Cardi B and Megan decide to return to the straight world, but yet they are let to return to the straight world. They are infected with both knowledge and poison. They enter back through the door, which signifies the vagina. So let's analyze the video. In Kemet, ancient Egypt, as it is known, cosmology of ancient Egypt, Nun and Nunet is the WAP that created the universe. They are depicted as three pots and waves. In the figure, they are written into hieroglyphics as you know it, or the Meta-Neter, to make the sounds of Nu and Nunet. The bottom section shows the people of Kemet and elevated, deified their concepts. In Kemet, ancient Egyptian cosmology, Nun and Nunet is a WAP that created the universe. They are depicted as three pots and waves. In the figure, they are written in the hieroglyphics, but the correct name is the Medu-Neter, to make the sounds of Nu and Nunet. The half bowl makes the T sound, so we have Nu and Nunet. On the bottom glyph, you can see these signs elevated and deified to be what people might think as gods or goddesses, but they are in fact elevated.
You want to support Relevant Unfiltered? Be sure to join.
Nun and Nunet, or the watery mass that creates everything. They are actually waves of origin particles that are in various states, gas, liquid, everything. They are actually waves we do not know, constantly creating different types of matter at random. So if you want to see pussy in the most uplifting way, this is what created everything in the universe, including God. This is a picture of the Assyrian initiation temple in Abydos, Kemet, ancient Egypt, where the mysteries would be revealed. In this scene, I want to show you the real chambers of initiation. This is in the Assyrian. The Assyrian is a place of initiation, but not for WAP, not for pussy power, but for knowledge to become godlike. And so in the chambers of Africa, this is where we are trained. This is where the Herodotuses and the Pythagoras came and to sit at the feet of the masters. But what they brought back to Europe could truly not understand. It's the concept of being godlike and not evil. And so here we see in this illustration the many chambers where one does not just have sexual power, but have power for sovereignty and rulership. So in the scene, you see the human entering the chamber. You seeing them in the various instructions dealing with meditation, dealing with purity, dealing with wisdom, dealing with how to mourn, how to praise, how to be humble. And so you see it in this illustration in ancient Egypt. this scene is in the chambers.
No place too high, no place too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you. No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you.
No mountain too high, no valley too low. If we waking up Jacob, then you know I'm trying to go. We plant seeds, then I'm trying to sow. I'm trying to sow and put my life on the line for the tribes like Geronimo. The Lord turning men into gold. As this story unfolds, truth turn friend into foe. Young bro, shot by the cops, only 12 years old. Negroes fighting for blocks, we don't fighting for souls. We got our boots on the ground. Big city, your small town. If you come up against us, then we shutting you down. If you ain't walked your father's business, we don't need them around. To us, a leader's a verb. To them, a leader's a noun. We trying to reform your thoughts, even teaching in different languages. We counted the cost and already know that it's dangerous, but we don't even care, cause we risking it all to wake our brothers up, scattered abroad.
No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you. No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you.
Japan ain't far enough. We a set sail if there was a man in Antarctica. Caravans in Sahara dust. Where you at? Here we come. Plane, van, car, truck. Jacob kids awakening and taking this truth worldwide. If you say we crazy, then you twisted like some curl fries. When I look into my girl eyes, I see she see the truth. We teach and reap the fruit. Now she see the sheep and groups. IUIC being true. Y'all's armor will rise up, enslaving all the nations that be hating and despise us. Now we on our third quest, 4 countries in 8 days. It's true, you heard that we own the ship, so make way. Coming back the same way, we was brought and made slaves. Captain screaming Mayday, Mayday, they back again. Yes, this really happening. Hell no, we ain't African. We the Israelites, these Israelites, we rest and bring the Sabbath in.
No matter how far we have to go, we're gonna teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you. No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you.
Messages about the balance of good and evil, and so they occultalize it. And so when we're watching this video, we're watching not an enlightened view but an occultist view. In this scene, we have an initiation chamber of the Europeans. These are Templar ritual caves. In this scene, we have a painting called the vigil. In this scene, we have a view of the underworld called Dante and the Virgil, where, Dante and Virgil, where we are seeing the demons, in this case, the men, interact within those chambers. Here, we have Europeans, and here we have here we have glances of the European rituals, and so we see the great demon.
No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you. No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you.
No mountain too high, no valley too low. If we waking up Jacob, then you know I'm trying to go. We planting seeds, then I'm trying to sow. I'm trying to sow. And put my life on the line for the tribes like Geronimo. The Lord turning men into gold. As this story unfolds, truth turn friend into foes. Young bro, shot by the cops, only 12 years old. Negroes fighting for blocks, we don't fighting for souls. We got our boots on the ground. Big city, your small town. If you come up against us, then we shutting you down. If you ain't about your father's business, we don't need them around. To us, the leaders are verbs. To them, our leaders are now. We trying to reform your thoughts, even teaching in different languages. We counted the cost, and already know that it's dangerous, but we don't even care, cause we risking it all to wake our brothers up, scattered abroad.
No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you. No place is too high, no place is too low. We travel the world just to teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you.
Japan ain't far enough. We a set sail if there was a man in Antarctica. Caravans in Sahara dust. Where you at? Here we come. Plane, van, car, truck. Jacob kids awakening and taking this truth worldwide. If you say we crazy, then you twisted like some curl fries. Look into my girl eyes. I see, she see the truth. We teach and reap the fruit. Now she see the sheep and groups. IUIC being true. Y'all's armor will rise up. Enslaving all the nations that be hating and despise us. Now we on our third quest. 4 countries in 8 days. It's true, you heard that we own the ship, so make way. Coming back the same way. We was born and made slaves. Captain screaming Mayday, Mayday, they back again. Yes, this really happening. Hell no, we ain't African. We the Israelites, this Israelite. We rest and bring the Sabbath in.
No matter how far we have to go, we're gonna teach our people. No matter how far, no matter how close, we teaching this word so the gospel can reach you. No place is too high, no place is
case, she's the devourer. She's Amet. She's devouring the heart. All of our actors and actresses have somehow in these so-called videos to create a market, right, have been pushed into these halls. Here, the famed Tupac Shakur is in the halls. His hall, in this case, was in the shower and in the bathroom, and that in the need for marketing a video and starting his career, you see him on the left side in various poses inside what they created as a hall, the bathroom, and you see Tupac in poses that that you would normally not see him. This is not Tupac Shakur, but for creating a market, he subjected himself to it. On the right side, you see a photo that's not shown much of Pac before he had all of the other tattoos that he says he was willing to go on stage and view himself like this in a very vulnerable situation for the industry. This is what the industry does to our actors and actresses and rappers and entertainers. They test them based on money. So on one hand is their humanity and who they really try to represent and where they come from. And the other hand is the penalty or the price that they must pay for it. And you see many of our great artists taking the road for fame and regretting it many years later as they get older. So this is a very rare photo of Tupac Shakur before he was all tattooed up and demonized into his thug life world. We know this from Little Kim's Junior Mafia, where here Little Kim is with eunuchs, and she and the other actresses are being fed grapes by these eunuchs. This is her initiation chamber. For many people who watched it, this was the glam of hip hop, but there's always another side. And in the lives of Little Kim and Junior Mafia and Biggie Smalls, there were prices paid, careers lost. Biggie was murdered, right? It's not all what it seems. For many of us, the price is too high. Pac's incarceration, the beef between the East Coast and the West Coast, and the many soldiers, male and female, that died because of this choice of the industry. We see this snippet from the movie Into Deep with LL Cool J, and in this scene, Omar Epps is witnessing God, who is LL Cool J, sacrifice a young man that we all know on a pool table. And he is on a pentagram because the pool table is a pentagram. And look at the signs and symbols, and he's bonded, and he will be sacrificed. Later in the film, you will see him cut up into many parts and thrown into a dumpster. But this is the price that the industry offers us to, and many of us are willing to accept. And many of us at the end regret that we paid this price. We see other rappers and actresses and singers. We see this incredible video on Ape Shit with Beyonce and Jay-Z. And this film is so incredible is that they take it to the Louvre and they do these dances and these rituals and these raps against the direct images of the occult. We've not seen anything like this, that they let us, or that these two people were so great the industry and those who manipulate the industry would play black people against their sacred occult symbols. In every room, in every scene was the world's occult world that is in the Louvre Museum. Nothing like this have we seen, but it's showing that that Africans, that black people are willing to participate in this, whether they are knowing or unknowing. And again, I am not trying to say that any of the people that I have shown are actually involved in the occult